road. He's somewhere on the West Coast. If you're looking for him, you can find him at andrewduhon.com. Thank you very much to Basics Swim and Gym, Hangover Destroyer, and the Positive Vibrations Foundation, all who made this show possible. And if you'd like to join us and be a part of our Patreon family, you can go to patreon.com, and for as little as $1 a month, as you probably already know, you can be a member of our Patreon family. Now, sitting around the table here are three illustrious New Orleanians. No one's looking at me. They're all on their phone. Oh, Lori Tipton is looking at me. Hi, Lori. Welcome back.
Hi. It's so nice to be back
It's
on the
so
show.
great to have you back because you are the person who has had the most popular happy hour ever of all time. The most listened to and the most downloaded ever.
Oh, well, thank you. I actually had somebody come up to me, I think I mentioned this on social media at the Ace Hotel, and said, I listened to you on that podcast talking about your shallow vagina.
That's what I think that's what got us all those listens, is the name.
I'm telling you.
You and your vagina. How is your shallow
magical.
vagina? Is this as good as ever?
It is just as good as
Same
it's always
as ever, okay.
No complaints.
Nothing wrong with it,
Nothing.
okay.
I'll keep you posted.
We never get a definition of shallow, I don't think, at the time, but we can get onto that later.
Yeah,
if you like.
absolutely. I'm all about talking about it.
Okay. And the legendary Billy Iuso is here as well.
As shallow as they come.
From Billy Iuso and the Rest is Natives,
Yeah,
one of New Orleans' great musicians.
Thank you.
I don't know how come you weren't born here. I didn't realize. I thought you were from here your whole life.
I mean, look at me. New York is all over me. You can
Is
tell
it?
Yeah, you can see it. Look at it.
You look like the most New Orleans guy in the world.
No, I'm originally from New York, and I migrated down here because of music. I was opening for the Meters and the Nevilles, and they said,
Right.
you should live in New Orleans. And I came here in 1996, about this time, January 96.
Really? Can you remember what clothes you were wearing when you got here?
Clothes?
Yeah. What were you
No, they were
wearing?
optional back then. Man.
96. Can you still fit into the same stuff?
No, not at all.
You're a lot skinnier then.
Yeah,
That
for
happens
sure.
to everybody.
Well, you know, in New Orleans, you get skinny sometimes as you're running the streets, and then when you decide to stay at home with your kids and stuff, you plump back up. I'm plumped back up.
You're back up?
Yeah.
You look good, actually. Don't you
Well,
think, Lori? Tell them the
thank
truth.
You look great.
Well,
I mean,
thank
I
you.
don't think you look New York enough. You need like a live, laugh, love face tattoo.
Well, I've been gone a long
Yeah.
time, so yeah.
What is
I got the neck tattoo. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you have a tattoo on your neck?
Yeah.
What does it say?
69.
69.
Well, hello.
That's only on one side of your neck, though.
That's right.
What's the other side?
Only half of me like 69. The bottom half.
I'll come back to that in a minute. David Villarubia is here. He's not used to this kind of bored conversation.
Come
Are you,
on.
David? He's much more sophisticated. David, are you the owner of the Degas house?
Yes.
David is the owner of the Degas house on Esplanade.
And I love bar talk, by the way.
You do, so you're okay with
Absolutely.
all this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, you used to be, I didn't know anything about this, actually, but you were an airline pilot?
Yes.
So you're a retired airline pilot?
Yep.
So you're like the world's most interesting person?
No, not really.
Not
Second.
really? Second most interesting.
Sully.
But
Sully, the guy who landed the plane.
but I do like beer.
You do like beer?
Absolutely.
Who did you fly for?
Delta Airlines.
And why did you quit? Did you get grounded because of the alcohol problem?
Oh, no.
None of that's true, then. So I can
No.
cross all that off.
This is actually an intervention. Your
Wow.
friends and family are outside.
Thanks for the warning. Should you invite the rest of them in?
Well, I thought, let's get through this first. So you just retired? Like,
No.
no.
Long story, but they had some changes at Delta in order to buy Northwest Airlines, and they had a Chapter 11. So my group left during that period to preserve the retirement. So I
What
left
that
them.
mean? You got laid off? So that they...
No, we had the option of staying or leaving, but
Right.
it was a better deal to leave at that moment in time. And they've rebuilt into a great airline. So
What did you do? When you say your group, what group was that?
international captains.
Wow, so you're an international captain. Mm-hmm. You
Yeah.
look the part, doesn't he, when you look at him now?
For sure.
Do you still have your cap?
Yeah, I never really liked it very much.
You
but,
didn't?
Do you get to fly for free forever?
Yeah, actually.
Awesome.
Are you single?
Yeah, I am.
That was the next question.
Okay, all right.
I am, but you're
Okay.
definitely not my type.
But I could be just for a trip to Paris, right? Just for a weekend.
if we separate at the airport when we get there.
Sure. Yeah. You don't even have to talk to me on the plane, even. What about Lori? You
I'll
could say
ride the
Lori. Lori's
laboratory.
totally
I don't
available.
even-
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lori's already got 2 husbands, so one more
Yeah, I
would.
think so. Well, one husband, 2 other co-parents, and a couple of boyfriends here and there. But none of them are captains.
I'm gonna have to write this down.
I mean, some
Hang
of
on.
them might like to be called captain, but none of them are actually captain.
What do you got? You got 2 boyfriends.
No, I got one husband.
One husband. I have to write this down. Got one. I put on the table.
You can write it on the table.
Trying to keep track.
I have
one husband,
two other co-parents that are both males.
Right.
Because my
That's a
son
gay
has
couple.
3 fathers. Yes.
Right. My
right.
son has 3 fathers. Right there is a good one.
Yeah, that's my tagline.
Do you want to explain that to these guys?
That's a song.
Would you like to? We could perform it later.
It might happen.
It might be a blues song.
Maybe so.
So me and my partner, who's now my husband, we couldn't have children together, so we chose a homosexual couple to co-parent with. And so we live within a mile of each other. We share all duties parenting. We split time evenly. This morning, the 4 of us went on a tour of kindergartens together.
Wow.
And they were a little confused. They're like, okay, so who's who? And we're just like, it
Keep
doesn't
'em
matter.
real.
We're all going to be here.
I
So
love
just, get
How
used
do
to
you
it.
explain that to the kindergarten authorities?
Well, usually I say, well, we're all his parents, and then if they keep looking, then I'll be like, we're his biological parents, and then we'll kind of step to the side. This is one couple, this is another couple.
It's a shame that they make you go there.
They usually don't,
That's
usually they don't, but sometimes people are a little confused, and we're fine with it. I mean, it's not always, you don't always see a kid with 4 parents like us.
That's awesome.
A lot of us, we look a little tattoos and...
As a parent, I would like to have a couple other parents to help
that's
me
why
out.
Especially financially.
Yeah, well,
Oh my God.
that was one of the reasons that I, went into this the way that I did, is because it is so hard nowadays, especially for single parents. I don't know how single mothers, fathers, grandparents do it. I have so much respect for them, because it's so hard for me with 3 more parents to get everything done.
How do you figure it out financially? Does everybody chip in an equal amount?
Yeah, usually, well, let me be honest. Me and my husband are horrible savers. Spoiler alert.
Okay. You like to spend money.
Yeah, I'm just not very good.
Wrong.
Not very good with saving money.
You get the next round.
Right, totally. I'll write a check for it, guys. I used air quotes for those who aren't watching. But the other 2 parents are very good at saving, so I'm like, okay, I'm really focusing on helping with the education. Wilder is very brilliant. I'm hoping he'll get a lot of scholarships. If not, they can fall back on this, But we do.
So you've got this gay couple who are making all the money, financing you and your husband's wild
basically,
lifestyle.
no. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously not too wild since
good.
I'm about to date him to go on a trip. Let's be honest.
Well, he's pretty wild. He's the captain.
Exactly. How do you feel about 5 people going along on the trip?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
Okay.
So we can leave the other 4 losers at home, don't worry. That's no problem. How many times do you take people on a plane for free? When we're in a bar, look, he's already undoing his shirt.
That's a trick question.
No, it's not.
It really depends on why I'm making the trip. So,
Well, suppose you're talking
I like to travel with one other person.
Okay, suppose you're talking to a woman in a bar like this, right?
Uh-huh.
And you look across the table and you say, hey, I could take you to Paris.
Yeah.
How often do you do that, is what I'm saying? Never? Once a year, once a month, weekly? Or what?
I really, I'm a little more conservative than that. It just depends on, I guess I could. It's just a matter of, is she going to behave getting on the airplane? There's a certain level of behavior that we have to have.
Well, what does it depend on? It depends on whether you think someone's going to behave in an airport or on a plane.
It's
That's
just...
it?
Look,
yeah,
you
pretty
can take
much.
me because the way I look, I have to behave in an airport. Or the Federals are called.
You're on a do not fly list already.
So that's the only
I hate
requirement.
to say it after 911, we went through every checkpoint just because of this beard and this
Because
dark
you look
complexion.
suspicious, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Are you dark? Do you have a
Not
dark
that they
complexion?
profile anybody.
You look like some sort of Arab terrorist or something. You think in your
I mean,
own
if
mind?
I dress the role, I could probably pass it.
Yeah.
Right
Well,
now,
what
I'm going for
nationality
hipster,
are you?
you know?
Are you so? Is that Italian?
I'm Italian. Yeah.
Italian. That
Italian
doesn't-
Irish. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm basically terrorist.
So you could get away as. Well, that was the original
I mean,
terrorist.
seriously,
I
yeah. I
suppose.
mean, I'm Irish Italian.
Yeah.
But the terrorist goes on within us. It's not, we don't project it on anybody else. It's just internal.
But that's the only requirement is you have to behave yourself on the plane.
No problem.
That's it, right? That's the
That's
only
what-
requirement is behavior. You don't have. There's no sexual favors involved. Nothing.
He's sitting his drink down.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to get the ground rules straight.
David, are you interested in management?
Yeah.
Well, he owns a restaurant and a.
No, I'm talking music management.
That's what I
'cause
mean.
I like the way
But-
he approaches all this.
Yeah.
So,
But he's a real businessman.
yeah, I feel that.
The Degas House is one of the best businesses in town. When you think,
yeah.
I love the whole concept of the Degas House because, is it Edgar Degas was his name?
Exactly.
He stayed there for about 5 minutes, I think, or something, right? Once when he was 12 years
Yeah,
old.
he
and
painted-
you've turned it into a whole
Yeah, he did quite a bit of work in the 5 minutes he was here, though.
How long was he really
Not
here?
like most of us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How long was Degas in New Orleans for real?
4.5 months.
4.5 months.
Right.
Okay, so Bob Dylan was here longer than that, and so was Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And who else?
But how much of the time when they were here were they actually here?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
How much of all of us are actually here?
That's
Yeah.
very, existential
Right now, are we
questions.
really here even? Would you
I
say?
gotta go.
So the guy was here for 4 months.
Yep.
That's all in his whole entire life, and he lived to how old was he when he died, Degas?
He was 83.
83.
Right.
So you've turned that 4 months. I mean, that is pretty amazing. That you've turned that into a whole
The
sort
key,
of a, I don't know what the right word is, but
the key is that it's the only one. So, and he did prolific work while he was here. That turned into the Impressionist movement. He wrote letters. Thank goodness for the letters, because it helps to put it into context of history. And the Impressionist movement followed, as he had predicted in one of the letters he wrote in New Orleans. So it was a transitional moment for him. So the length of time really doesn't matter as much as the fact that we actually have a house of Degas somewhere, and Paris does not have it. It's the only one.
Where did he
is
live in
here.
Paris?
Montmartre. And
why isn't there a Degas house that where he lived?
well, he never married. He never bought any property. He had.
He bought this house while he was here.
Oh no. He lived with family. His mother's family was from New Orleans, so he lived there. His brothers had immigrated
I didn't know
over.
any of this.
Wow,
This is-
yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things. This is awesome.
But I mean, the way you capitalize on it, it's awesome. I mean, when I write a song, some take me 2 minutes, some take me years. And the 2-minute one usually is the one that people. So, you know, you capitalized on that in your own
So
world.
you could start up the Iuso house.
I already have. It's right over there across Napoleon if you want to stop by.
That's where you live uptown on Napoleon?
Yeah, I live in this neighborhood.
Okay. Well, David can help you out and set you up with the whole business, and you can put a bed and breakfast in there.
No, I'm going to stick with where I'm at. But
What-
I'll leave that to the professionals.
What do you? So you have.
It would be better if he were deceased first.
Oh, well, let's see how, let's see how the show goes.
No offense.
Well,
It's coming.
as your manager, you're just going to have to go. Lance.
I am in the music business and 50, so, you know.
So
Oh, you don't look 50 at all.
Well, you're not quite 50.
No,
That's
I'll be
right.
50 next week.
Oh, well, even next week, I
Dave,
don't
who's
think it'll
calling?
be.
Who is it?
That's
You want to take it?
No, my
take
office
it.
will pick it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
So your phone is forwarded to your office.
The office phone is forwarded to me.
I see. I see. But you don't pick it up, so that someone at the office. Who's at the office?
Yeah, they're there. So,
Do you have full-time employees?
oh yeah.
How many people work down there?
Well, we have about 6 full time.
Wow, it's a
And
pretty good business.
some part timers too. Well, we do a lot. We do weddings. We have guided tours of the house with the great grandnieces of Edgar Degas leading the tours.
The great-grandniece.
So, yeah, how about that?
That's awesome.
I've never heard of a great-grandniece of Edgar Degas. That sounds like another song, actually, though.
Yeah, like a country
have-
music song. Yeah.
What does a great-grandniece look like?
Well, they are retired ladies who
Okay.
have been with me for quite some time. I guess the first one's been with me about 16 years, and the other one 12 or 13 years.
So what happens
And-
when they retire? Could Lori take over? Who would know,
I need,
right?
I need to get a period costume.
Well, who would
I
know
might
whether you
have
got a
one.
great-grandniece? So they
Shouldn't
don't
be hard
dress
to
up.
find in this city.
Right.
They're not dressed up, though, are they? They're just
No,
taking
no,
people
they're-
on tour. You could wear your regular
Oh,
outfit.
okay.
Yeah, you can do
I was
that.
hoping I could dress up, honestly.
Well, you could. What era was Degas here? What years was it?
1872 and 3.
That's sort of.
That's sort of my, I don't know.
I can pull
That's
that
my-
off.
yeah.
Yeah. You might have to hide these tattoos. Now, you've got neck tattoos as well,
I
right?
do have a neck
What's
tattoo.
on your
It says,
neck?
heavy hangs the head that last night wore the crown.
Heavy hangs the head. You think it says that, but it's on the back, actually.
Yeah. I've had enough men tell me that's what it says.
Okay. So you have a bunch of boyfriends as well as.
Well, honestly,
The
to be
husband.
completely honest, right now I don't have a bunch of boyfriends. I've been keeping it low because I've been writing a book. And that's been taking a lot of my time. And
Right.
it's really hard when you're just out there trying to live everybody's sexual fantasy. You don't have as much energy for your own writing. And so I've been putting love on the back burner for a little while, to be honest with you.
To become a novelist or.
I'm writing a memoir. And it's actually not about my shallow vagina.
It says, is your vagina.
No one's going to buy it. No.
Is there a chapter?
I mean, there might have to be an epilogue.
What's it called, the book?
The book is called In the Heart, Not the Head, an MDMA memoir.
MDMA
I'm
is...
familiar with that term.
Yeah.
Billy has something to share.
I mean, no, I'm older than that. I was more of the old school drug user, but I
More
know
of a
what
sort
it
of
is.
pot and cocaine era.
Yeah, that was definitely more my thing.
So
Acid.
MDMA is ecstasy.
Right.
It is, and I was last year. I was one of the few people in New Orleans who was part of an FDA trial to treat severe PTSD with MDMA psychotherapy.
Okay, there's a lot of letters there.
Yes,
Severe
it's all the acronyms.
I'll take a vowel.
Severe PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you have that from?
Well, I have had several. Well, do we want to get dark now? Because I'm all ready
Yeah.
for it. Okay.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of drinks. We'll have a dark bit, and then we'll have Billy play a song and lighten
Perfect.
it up. Okay, so let's do the dark bit.
So
Okay.
I've been through in my life a few apex traumas or very significant traumatic events. The first one
Can we
would have
just stop for 1 second? What apex is what?
an apex trauma is like a significant traumatic event in your life. So in other words, instead of like long-term chronic trauma of maybe having like a hard childhood, it's like an event like wartime might be an apex trauma.
Okay.
For me, I suffered quite a few in a short amount of time. The first being my brother overdosed on painkillers when I was 20 and he was 22. And then a few years later, right before Hurricane Katrina in 2005, my mother killed 2 people and herself. And I was the one who discovered them. And then Hurricane Katrina happened. And then after that, in 2006, I was raped and became pregnant from that rape and had an abortion. Yeah, I told you I was going to get dark.
All right.
I told you it was going to get dark there.
That's a pretty incredible line of events to happen to anybody. And
So,
over what period of time was all this? 1 year,
so
2 years,
1999 to 2006 is when all those things
so
happened.
7-year period of...
Of bad fucking luck. Yeah, really.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so a lot of people don't necessarily realize that about me because I'm very high functioning and really funny and great to be around.
Yeah, and you're a bartender and everybody loves you and you're a celebrity.
And so it's been obviously like a lot of people who suffer from PTSD. It's something that really affects your day-to-day life. You know, I had because of that trauma, a lot of fear and anxiety constantly. And I had tried everything to really deal with that, you know. So I had done pretty much all the routes you can think of that are legal, including, you know, traditional with therapy, you know, antidepressants, anti-anxieties, and then I had even gone to like Rolfing, you know, yoga, meditation. And none of those things really had any lasting effects for me. So I was really, you know, struggling and very suicidal at times, to be honest with you. So when I got the ability to be in this trial,
how did that happen? How did they find you? How did you find
To be honest with you, I found it on social media, which is really awesome. And if anybody's listening and is interested in these trials, you can go to clinicaltrials.gov or maps.org and look at their clinical trials that are going on right now.
Why were you looking at that?
Well, it came up just as a post. I follow MAPS, which is the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. I follow them online, and it just came up in like
you follow
my
that
feed.
David, right? Too.
He must.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm all ears, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And-
you start off by being interested in psychedelic.
Well, yeah,
Well, I'd never
I
even
definitely,
heard of Maps.
yeah, definitely.
I thought Maps was Google.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I thought that's what you were
Well, if
talking
you go
about.
to maps.com, it's going to be something different.
Maps.com.
No,
This-
maps.org is where you want to go for this.
Maps.org is where you can find out about what's going on in psychedelic
Absolutely,
research.
absolutely, and it's really
Wow, okay.
it's incredible.
And why were you following that?
I've always been interested in college at Tulane. I actually studied neuroscience, and so,
So you're
you
a
know,
neuroscientist.
can you tell by the way I make a cocktail?
Well, I guess that's a
Can
pretty
you
good
tell,
background when
right?
you think about it.
Well, it is,
Do
really.
you have a degree in neuroscience? Did you graduate?
I have a degree in psychology, and I specialized in biological psychology the year before Tulane created a neuroscience program.
So let me just ask you this off the subject. Why did you go into bartending and not do something?
Well, originally, when I finished, I went into disaster planning and recovery consulting and did that for several years because the money was so incredible.
Yeah.
And then when I got done with that, you know, bartending is just, it's a great opportunity in New Orleans. And
But
it's
do you think there's some reason that you didn't want to have a real career because you
Well,
were
to be honest with
too
you,
messed up to
I was going to go
concentrate?
to yeah, absolutely, and I was going to go to medical school, but what happened with my mother happened,
Right.
and so that's when my entire trajectory changed dramatically, and so
She really fucked you up with
she
that,
did.
killing
I'm
two
telling
people
you,
and then
it's
herself.
a real fucking bummer.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
What made her kill two people and then herself? Did
She was mentally
crazy?
ill most of her life. Well, and she had bipolar disorder, and honestly, she was amazing. she was very well loved. My mother was a house mom at a gentleman's club on Bourbon Street for over 10 years.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
she had
Which one?
well, she worked originally at Temptations, and then she worked at Scarlett's. It closed, and then she worked. Scarlett's got bought out by the Hustler Corporation, which is Deja Vu Corporation, and she worked there just very, very for a week before all this stuff happened.
What does a house mom do? That's someone who takes care of the girls.
It's amazing. They're basically like a den mother for all the dancers. So they make sure that they follow all the laws, and there are a lot of laws concerning, and they've changed significantly in the last actual year.
So she wasn't herself a dancer?
No, when she was young, she was a Playboy bunny at the Playboy Club on Iberville. She was a billiard bunny. Yeah.
Billiard bunny. Mm-hmm. Was that someone who plays
pool
with guys?
Yep, and she got paid to play pool. Absolutely. So she was kind of, in her whole life, she was very groomed to think that the way that you looked physically was really important to being able to make money and things. And so it kind of led her whole trajectory into working as a house mom and gentlemen's clubs and all that stuff. And so she was very well loved, extremely.
Was she your mom at this time? Were you a kid when she was going to work down on
Yeah,
Bourbon Street?
my first job ever was a cocktail waitress at Temptations on Bourbon Street while I was at Tulane. Yeah, and I learned more working in that strip club than I did in 4 years at Tulane, to be honest with you.
But when you were a little girl at home, were you at home while your mom was working as a...
When I was a little girl at home, my parents had divorced, and when I was with my mother during half the year, she was a cocktail waitress at casinos at that point. Okay. She was not working in a gentleman's club because there weren't as many at that time. It really was when they started to bloom on Bourbon Street, like a lot more gentlemen's clubs, is when she kind of got into the house mom business.
So didn't you think that you were getting yourself out of this lifestyle by getting a degree from Tulane in neuroscience, which is a pretty big deal?
You know, I never looked down at the lifestyle, to be honest with you. My father was a bartender at the Monteleon for years. That's where he met my mother. I never looked down on service industry. I still don't. I think it's amazing. And so I didn't really think of myself as escaping that. I did think I would be in a much more academic situation than I am now. And it does at times wear on me that, like, the most interesting things I get to talk about at work aren't always what I want to talk about. You know, and I do, as a bartender, though, you would be surprised at how many interesting people sit at the bar, and I do get to talk about neuroscience.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, actually. Especially in New Orleans. It's unbelievable who you can meet sitting at a bar.
It really is.
Yeah. Okay. So who did she kill, your mom?
She killed, my mother was a lesbian, and she killed her ex-girlfriend and her ex-girlfriend's new love interest.
So she busted them together or something and got jealous? Or?
No, it was jealousy, definitely. But she didn't catch them like in any act or anything. It was what they would say a crime of passion for sure. But nobody knows exactly. I have my own theories. I believe that the two of them, the couple, that my mother's ex and the new girlfriend, went to my mother's house to talk with her. At that point, she hadn't eaten or really for a few days, and my mother was a very skilled shot, so she had taught firearm safety classes. I'm honestly, like, she was very, so she was able, honestly, she shot them both through the heart and herself through the heart, one shot each, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. On that note,
let's
get another drink.
We're going to have a drink, and we're going to come back to the story of how you got into. I can see why you wanted to do the MDMA test.
Well, yeah.
And what's going to happen is you're going to tell us that the MDMA saved your life, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on to that in a minute. First of all, Billy Iuso is going to play a song off his new album, which is nominated for Best Album of All Time in the History of Recorded Music.
Yeah, that's it.
It's called Home by the Sea. And guys, you've seen Billy play, obviously.
Yeah, he's played at Ace before.
Played at the Ace.
This guy's the real deal. David, are you familiar with Billy Iuso and the Restless Natives?
I am
David,
now.
I have seen you spinning in the front row.
Yeah, right.
No,
this guy is a legend and an amazing musician.
No, I hang around with a lot of legends.
That's what it is. It's a reflective glory.
That's exactly what it is. You know?
But this record is really great, and it has been nominated for something.
Yeah, for the Offbeats Best of the Beat Award. It's
right.
the first time I've been nominated since I've been here. I've been here since '96.
Well, you know what it's like when you come to New Orleans. You have to put in the time before they believe that you're really.
Well, let me tell you what.
Here.
I put in a lot of time in my first 5 years, really quick. I was a tour manager for the Neville Brothers and the Meters, and I worked for George Porter for years, and when I came to New Orleans, I was thrown right into the top of the New Orleans scene. So
you were a tour manager for the Nevilles.
I was stage manager for the Nevilles. I was tour manager for George and the Meters.
You must have about as many good stories as Lori, I would think about.
I got a lot of stories, and it's a book worthy, but These are my friends.
You can't really
I
tell
gotta wait
them.
till they check out before
Yeah.
I put the book out.
Well, you better stay healthy because you need to outlive them.
Exactly. And George Porter will definitely outlive me at this point.
He is looking good, and he's great.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys.
He's an inspiration to us all.
So
here.
you turn 50 this week, next week.
26th.
The 26th
Yep.
of January. And so...
Pull it together.
I
man.
know. I have to write it down, otherwise
You're
I
the
don't
host,
know.
man. Pull it together.
So you have a birthday party at Tipitina's.
Yes.
On that
The 25th.
The 25th.
So at midnight.
Friday,
At midnight,
and that's your actual birthday.
Yeah.
So Friday the 25th,
Yep.
you're playing at Tips with a whole
Yeah.
bunch of also.
I have my band. We're going to do a set of my music, and then the second set we're going to do songs from 1969, and I got guests like Brian Stoltz, Russell Batiste, Johnny Vodakovich, Reggie Scanlon.
So all
Many
star
more
names. Okay.
people to announce.
So the 69 on your neck is the 1969.
Yeah, it's the year I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're reserving the other
you
side
know,
for the year
if
you
the
die?
right
or-
person asked me what it's for, you know, for you,
It's-
it's the year I was
it's-
born.
Okay, what are you going to play?
I'm going to play a song that I wrote about a place that I go to. It's really a love song, but I like to write songs that don't necessarily, like you listen to it and it might have a different meaning for you. So
Okay.
this is a song I wrote about the island of Jamaica, which I plan to retire to pretty soon. So it's called Gentleness About Her. There's a gentleness about her, a whisper in the wind. Though I can't live without her, there I go to her arms again. The smell, the sound surrounds her like a sweet song in the wind. But her touch is so familiar, just like a comfort of an old friend. There's a gentleness surrounds her, gets under my skin. And though I can't live without her, there I go back to her arms again. The smell, the sound surrounds her like a sweet song in the wind. But her touch is so familiar. There I go, there I go. Thank you.
Beautiful. I would not have guessed that was about Jamaica.
No, you're not supposed to. Unless
David,
I tell
what would you what would you have thought that was about?
Well, I was thinking Caribbean because you had kind of introduced that thought.
Did you fly to the Caribbean when you were a pilot?
Aruba.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Of course, that's, the islands.
It's not far.
But I've traveled to the Caribbean.
It's not.
So
Aruba's not far.
when are you retiring to Jamaica?
I'm actually, my wife and I are trying to figure out a way to buy this house. We actually looked at a piece of property
You've got
there.
a place in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to go part-time. I still have kids in school here, so it's, I have a lot of downtime. My wife has her own business.
What does she do?
She walks dogs.
Hey.
Takes care of dogs.
Really?
That's awesome.
We can kind of, plan out things where we could go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right.
And then eventually I'm just going to,
Not come back.
I mean, the home by the sea is you know,
Who wouldn't
I've
want
always
that?
wanted that. So,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Haven't you? Lori, wouldn't you like to live by that?
I've been escaping,
Absolutely, yeah.
trying to escape the real world for a long time. That's what I ended up here for. But
This is as close as you can get
it's
to.
starting to get so real, I got to go even
You need
further.
to find something. What about a country where they don't speak the language, where you could be
I'd love to.
like
I just can't
Mexico?
afford most of them.
Well, Mexico is
Mexico, I could, but I fell in love with Italy too. But
That's nice too.
It's
so
too
how much
far.
do you have to pay for a house in Jamaica on the sea?
well, the one that I found is very, very cost efficient. It's a one-time opportunity.
Right.
I don't really know. I think that there's a range from anywhere from $10,000 to $1 million. You know, it's
Well,
just.
yeah.
But I mean, you know, if you're in the middle of nowhere in the country, there's houses everywhere for nothing. But you know, I'm looking in Negril, which is
Okay.
a tourist destination, and I found a nice little spot that it's not on the market.
So,
It's
that's
personal.
what I was going to say. You have to snap it up before somebody else.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But unfortunately, I'm a musician with not too much savings.
That's
so.
the problem. Well, Lori can hook you up with a couple of homosexuals who,
Oh,
who make a lot of money and apparently can
Maybe
put
you
in
have-
lavish spending.
I have 3 children to share.
Right.
now.
Well, maybe you have a great grand niece over in Italy. You know that can help you out.
What about a GoFundMe page for that?
Oh man, you know.
I know it sounds ridiculous,
I've
but-
done that for records, and you always feel like you're attached to people after that. Like, I'm sorry I didn't send you the poster with my signature.
Why
on
didn't
it.
you send it?
Because the postage, I didn't realize how expensive that shit was going to be.
Well, this is where
afterwards.
David comes in as your new manager.
Exactly, I'm a
Don't
guitar
make
player,
stupid
man.
mistakes like that. Right.
You should just promise like handshakes, and
Yeah,
then that's
no,
it. You know.
So no, it's just I'm not, and I've never been. It took me a while before I even got a credit card. I don't like owing people money. I like
Right.
to just live with what I got and go with it from there. That's because, and that way I've kept myself out of debt till 50. So.
That is it. Extremely impressive.
You know, I did. Katrina helped me. I turned my house into. I got an insurance payment instead of fixing it. I paid it off and fixed it myself. So
Okay.
you know, I own outright my house
So
here
that-
in New Orleans.
That's
good.
amazing.
Fantastic.
That is.
That's why I'm still be able to do what I'm doing. I mean,
Right.
really, that decision when I made it, I was like, oh shit, like, how am I going to fix this house?
How did you actually?
Help of friends and learning how to do it. You can see where I started sheetrocking. It looks terrible. by the end, it looks pretty good. Luckily, my wife is not too particular, so we just, as long as the house is functional, we're cool.
So you got flooded out there?
Yeah,
On the
we
pole?
got.
Where are you?
I'm
like Broadmoor?
I'm over on General Taylor, right below Ferret.
Okay.
And
oh, right, just right at the
yeah,
last.
I had for 14 inches in my house. My neighbor had 3 inches,
Yeah.
so it was just that much different.
Yeah.
So
Once you start getting to Ferret Street, it just started going down completely
Mm-hmm.
to zero.
it was an odd situation,
Nice.
and we didn't
But
know if we'd
it's
ever come back.
But strangely, it's worked out though because you got a whole bunch of money. You fixed it yourself.
it worked out. It
You
worked
own
out.
your own home now, and you can afford to go and move to Jamaica. Well,
Well,
you could sell this house here and move
It's
to
still
Jamaica.
kind of a pipe dream, but
What about if you Airbnb'd the house out or something?
yeah, it's a possibility. But like I've lived my whole life with these. I'm going to do this. I'm
Right.
going to do this. I said I was going to play Tipitina's once. I played there over 200 times now. So like, I'm going to live in Jamaica. Mark my words. No matter how I get there, they wheel me there.
So
or
you've
they
got the
sprinkle
kind of,
my dust there.
Have
I
you
don't
got
know.
the kind? Have you got that kind of personality that you decide to do something and you do it?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
David, do you have that? Are you one of those kind of people who just decides to do something and does it? Is that how you've pulled this off?
I think these projects sneak up on you. And,
Yeah.
After several losses in my family, and I bought the place knowing that somebody responsible should be doing what I did, I found myself in a position that nobody else is going to do it except me. So
Are you related to Degas somehow? Is that
oh
what
no,
you're saying?
no, not at all.
Okay.
No.
So
But
what was the sense of duty that propelled you to do that?
Well, the house was on the market as pretty much an empty shell. There wasn't, it had been run down for quite some time. Esplanade Avenue was not in very good shape at the time. And quite frankly, I thought that the museum or the city of New Orleans would want to take this project on. But I wasn't anticipating 2 losses in my family within a year. So at that point, you need a project. So try to keep your head straight. And,
Right. You could have taken Ecstasy. Saved yourself all this.
Yeah, the airline wouldn't have liked that at all.
There's still time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
There is still time.
Laura's going to
Yeah.
explain to you how you can do it.
Yeah.
I have to ask Billy a question.
Yes, hang on. You have to turn your mic up there.
So my
Yes,
question
Zero.
is, how much are your Jazz Fest show tickets? Because we have a fan here, Johnny Ray, saying he'll be sleeping out tonight to get tickets for his Jazz Fest show.
Johnny Ray is a special, special person, and it takes a special person to show that dedication to the music business, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Do you have a Jazz Fest show?
I mean, I'm sorry that people have to pay $185 to see me, but you will get to see this band from England that's really hot too, and they're coming on the same day. So,
are you playing Jazz Fest the same day as the Stones? Are you not serious?
Yes, and I don't have guest passes.
You're not? Are you serious?
Yes.
So what
yes,
part
I
of
am.
the day are you on?
Right now, the time is to be determined. I think the Thursday was such a mess for them; they're still working out the
so
details.
the Stones are on last, obviously.
Yeah, I will not be competing with them.
Holy shit!
But
this
I
is
hope
wild.
I hope I get to see Ziggy Marley. Really, that's my.
So he's on the same day as you.
Yeah.
So it's your band. Is it the Restless Natives?
Yes.
And Dumpster Funk is playing as well.
Samantha Fish,
Samantha
Anders
Fish,
Osborne.
Anders.
I mean, I can't remember all the names.
This
but
is
yeah.
great. And do you get parking? Because that's the main.
Oh
problem.
yeah, we get parked.
Okay, so we're in.
Yeah.
Okay, what sort of a trade-off do we have to do?
Well, we got to rent a big vehicle.
We've got.
First, we need a big vehicle.
David has a trip to Paris to trade.
Yeah, that would be a good trade, right?
Hell yes.
Do you fly to Montego Bay?
No, unfortunately not.
Are you serious?
I just want to know, do you still have a
Delta.
plane? That's what
No, Delta. You can fly anywhere in the world for free on Delta, and you can take somebody with you. So Delta doesn't go to Jamaica?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You
Okay,
got to go
so
through
we're in.
Atlanta or New York first, but yeah.
Okay. So you're in.
Okay,
Right
we're
there.
all in.
How many Stones tickets do you need?
Well, I need more than what they're saying they're going to allow us to buy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's been.
Well,
I mean, my father lives in up north, and he instantly was like, "How am I going to see you?" And I was like, "Don't worry, Dad. Remember, your name is Dad. You will get to see me."
Okay, that is pretty cool. So Johnny Ray knows what's going on here. Then.
Johnny Ray knows actually too much. That's all I'll say. He knows.
Okay.
He knows the scene inside and out. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a super fan.
All right. So he's on it. Did you know? Are you going to the Stones show
I doubt it. I'll probably be working, you know.
that day?
Yeah.
What day is it? It's a Thursday.
The Thursday the 2nd.
Yeah.
The tickets go on sale tomorrow. So if you listen to this any other time, today is the Wednesday, the 17th of January, is it, or the 16th?
Tomorrow.
16th.
Tomorrow is the 17th.
Yep.
And people are going to
So-
be like camping for it, right?
I hear they're
I was
camping
thinking
for
of
it.
like
Is
going to
that
go
true?
camp for other people's tickets and they could pay me for it, like a ticket escort.
There's plenty of people
yeah.
that would do that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can do that after the show, actually.
Exactly.
We'll go down there and see who'll pay us some money.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to get moving here, but let's get back to Ecstasy.
Sure.
Okay, so we got off the track
Thank
here
God.
when you were looking at a website called maps.org,
Yes.
which is a catalog of what's going on in the psychedelic research world.
Right.
And they said what? They're looking for...
Well, they had put up a post that they were looking for participants for a trial here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And they listed an email there. And I immediately, that evening that I saw that post, immediately emailed. And I thought, well, I'll never get into this because they're going to get thousands and thousands of people.
Right. Free ecstasy, you would think they probably
Right,
would.
exactly.
Right.
And miraculously, I got a phone call within probably about, I want to say it was within a couple days that I got a phone call. And in the phone call, it was just a very brief conversation, just asking, if I had been clinically diagnosed with PTSD, a couple of questions about that diagnosis. And then from there on, I went in and started meeting with the team. Because it's an FDA trial, or the one that I was in was an FDA trial, and phase 3 is going on right now. I was in between phases 2 and 3, and I was very fortunate because my phase, everybody got the drug. So
There was no placebo.
no placebo.
Wouldn't that be terrible if they told you that it was ecstasy and it was just sugar?
Right, yeah.
Who would be stupid enough to think that?
Well,
That's
I
happened
think-
to me a lot.
Billy's paid a lot of money for that, actually.
No, I was always a consumer, never selling.
Never purveyor.
And it wasn't ecstasy, but I've gotten plenty of fake shit over the years.
Well, but I mean, you'd be pretty pissed off if you were doing this for a trial.
Well, the
no, yeah, I
good
would be.
news is in the trial, if you do get the placebo, at the end you get a chance to do the actual work with the drug. So even if you were part of the placebo group, at the end they would say, "Do you still want to go ahead and do the therapy with MDMA?" So at least, yes, I agree. It would be
Okay, so
disappointing.
Have
but-
you ever done ecstasy, David?
No.
Seriously, no.
No.
You've done it, right?
I've done it like once or twice. yeah.
Okay. And you've done it before outside of this, right?
I had done it like once or twice before, but I don't think what I had done was actually ecstasy. I think what I had done was pretty much like methamphetamine or something, because what I experienced experienced in the trial, and granted, this was combined with psychotherapy, so the set and setting was very different than like scoring something on Decatur Street, 3 a.m.
So you're not
in a tutu. But so let's just say this was a very different set and setting.
You take a hit of ecstasy, and you're in a controlled environment with a therapist?
So basically the way the trial works is there's a total of like 18 points of contact. So that means there's 18 different sessions, and you do several sessions of regular therapy with this team before you're given the drug. And there's only 3 experimental sessions where you're given the MDMA. And the teams, what MAPS' protocol is at this point is it's a male and a female. And you go in and you meet with them. I've been in therapy almost my whole life, so I'm very comfortable with therapists. It wasn't a problem for me to get comfortable in that situation. But when you're given the medicine, those days you're with the therapist in a room for about 8+ hours. And in that time, you can put on headphones, and they have like a playlist that they developed that they had from the psilocybin research that was done at several different universities where they were treating cancer patients with mushrooms, basically. And so they had developed these different musical playlists. And then you could put on head mask and cover up and kind of go in, or you could talk if you wanted to. There was no protocol to it, and it was very self-led. So they weren't directing me. The therapists weren't like, okay, now hurry up, get up, let's talk about you being raped. It wasn't like that. It was very much self-led.
How do I get my music on those playlists?
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously.
I mean, that's my clientele. I'm serious.
PTSD people on ecstasy.
You'd be amazed, though. Yeah, I mean,
So that's your Spotify playlist.
I'm a jam band.
You literally just need to start just tagging it with those hashtags like psilocybin music, really.
So you take the ecstasy, and are you telling the therapist that they're the most beautiful person ever, and I've always loved you?
Yeah, obviously. You're just no, really.
What happens if you're in a room with a therapist and you take
what
ecstasy?
happens is it's really fascinating, and it's really the magic of having the therapy with the medicine, to be honest with you, because what's happening when you take PTSD, a couple different things in the brain. For one, your amygdala, which is your fear center, is really quieted. So normally that's the part of your brain that makes you very anxious and fearful. And also your prefrontal cortex is highlighted. So that's the part of your memory that's filled with, or your part of your brain that brings up your memories and things like that. So what happens is you're able to remember things, but you're not overwhelmed with the emotion attached to them. And also because MDMA releases oxytocin, you just feel good. You don't feel bad. Your whole body feels good. You're like, wow, I feel great.
So you can review actual memories that come up, and you only feel good about things, and you don't feel
I wouldn't say you only feel good. You're able to review these things from a completely different perspective. So each of us, I believe, we have a narrative that we tell ourselves about our lives, right? We fill this in constantly. It's almost like we drive to work every day, and we know the route we go, and we just automatically drive that route. Even though there are other routes we could take that might get us there faster or are more beautiful, we just always go the same way. Well, our brain pathways are similar. If traumas happen, we just react in the same way, and it actually becomes then that we form those pathways so strongly that then it shapes the way that we look at the world on a day-to-day basis outside of trauma. But if we can go into them and revisit, especially these things, you got to get that?
No, I don't know.
Are you sure?
I don't know who it is.
That's your drug dealer.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I know you're looking for some
I'm
MDMA.
listening.
Yeah. He's like, oh, look, let me get you some hookup on the MDMA. No. So what can happen when you're in the sessions is you're able to recall these events, and you can see them with perspective that allows you then to react differently to them, and it forms new neural pathways in your brain.
Okay,
It's incredible.
So going for you in particular, you had a terrible experience where you walked into a room and there was the horrible situation with your mom.
Absolutely.
How can you how can you better look at that?
I'll be honest with you, in that specific situation, there were things that I could not remember because of the trauma. No matter how hard I tried to remember them, it was like somebody had made a videotape and just cut out splices of it.
Right.
When I was under the influence of MDMA in therapy with a team that I felt very supported by, I could recall every aspect of that event.
Wow.
And
is that better or worse?
Absolutely, because it also allowed me, for the first time in my life, to feel empathy for myself in that situation. I had never felt empathy for myself. And so that in itself is a miracle.
You honestly never thought, why did this happen to me? Why poor me?
I mean, I definitely said, why did
ever?
that happen? But that wasn't true empathy for myself. It was more of a frustration of like, I should have known this was going to happen. I should have done something different. This is
You really thought that?
Absolutely.
You
To
really
my
thought that you
to my
could've-
core.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you need help, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's terrible that you really thought you were responsible
I absolutely,
for it.
absolutely did. And you would be surprised that so many people who suffer trauma, shame is such a huge component of it. We don't even realize, too, just how insidious it is. It shapes the way that we react to ourselves and just the negative self-talk that comes out of that. When my whole life, if I didn't do or perform to the level I thought I should, which is why I was such an overachiever, I was constantly talking down to myself. So I could never really enjoy anything.
I mean, I think that goes with human nature. I mean, on many levels. I mean, as you're growing as a teenager, you go through that, like the shame and it's molding yourself in that way. I mean, so it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I get where you were able to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I think it's really the miracle of that. It's perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's a change in the narrative that we tell ourselves, and even if that doesn't it's not like then I can always just feel high on ecstasy, like I feel great all the time. But having seen something, you can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so it's an inherent knowledge. And, I've been in therapy with my regular therapist for years, and I stayed with her during this whole process. And she even said, she's like, what I was able to attain in just these 3 sessions was what most people get out of 20 years of traditional therapy.
That's what I was going to say. Like, age is the only other way you can see those perspectives.
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't live long enough to see those
Yeah,
perspectives.
and why do we have to suffer that long is my
Right.
question,
No, I feel
and
you.
because this happened and I was a part of it, one of the main reasons why I'm writing a book about it is because I want more people to know about this, and I want this to become, they're hoping MAPS is working to make this, right now MDMA is a Schedule 1 drug, which means that it's right up there with like LSD, heroin, meaning it has no pharmaceutical benefit whatsoever. MAPS is working to get that changed, and hopefully by 2021 it will be, because in my opinion, everyone should have the option to have this treatment if they want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it will work for 100% of the people because I don't believe in saying that. I think it's actually detrimental to people with trauma when you say this is the thing that's going to save you. But I do believe that this is so valuable, and this is one of the reasons I'm writing about it and why I talk about it a lot, because it saved my life. I want it available for everybody.
I agree with you. I was saved by Kratom, which is a plant.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and they're trying to schedule
They're trying
that
right
too.
now, exactly.
What is that, Billy?
Well, when I was in a car accident in 2004, and I was prescribed Percocets and Vicodin and all that, and I went that road for a long time. I went cold turkey during Katrina because people thought I was pharmacy shopping, and then I came back and started buying on the street just to heal my pain. And then I discovered Kratom, or some people say Kratom.
Mm-hmm.
How do you spell that?
It's spelled with a K, Kratom. And it's an herb from Asia, and people have been using it for years.
It's amazing.
I have not had an opiate in almost 4 years now because of that.
Yeah, a lot of people, and the Kratom thing is really amazing because the FDA a year ago tried to make it a Schedule 2, or I believe, drug, and everybody marched on the FDA and said, please do not do this. Right. This is literally like helping to stop the opioid crisis, which is another big passion of mine to talk about because that is so horrible in this country right now. And Kratom, they have Kratom bars in places. They have one here in New Orleans, don't they?
I don't know if they still do.
And
but
so
they did,
you can.
It's right in the Degas house.
No, but
Yeah.
it saved me too. I could not.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that I was doing what I was doing. My wife started pointing it out to me, and I didn't know it had a grab on me. I had done drugs my whole life and able to put them down. I went through 10 years of doing cocaine and then just didn't do it again. And then other things. So I always thought I had control on that shit, but the pills, because they're synthetic and stuff, they really grab you. And I know it works for heroin people, but like you said, the key thing is it's individual. Because some people it doesn't work for.
Right.
But for me, it worked, and it should be available to people.
So how did you actually get off the opiates and just from taking crack? What does it look like? Is it
It's a powder. I get it in a powder form, and I mix it with orange juice, and I drink it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still taking it.
So you have to keep taking it.
You don't.
A lot of people don't.
I have chronic pain.
You do still.
Oh, yeah. I have piriformis and sciatica, so I deal with chronic pain. So I take it for that. But I went from a high dosage to now I'm just like on 2 or 3 grams at a time, which is basically nothing.
And also, it doesn't impair you, so you can
No,
still
not at
work
all.
and drive
No,
and do everything. It's nothing.
No, there's no high on
Yeah,
it.
and I think also, like, going to what you were saying, Billy, is it's really hard when you're prescribed drugs. Also, it's easier to get hooked to them because
I
your
thought I
doctor
was
is
doing-
telling you
yeah.
this is what you need for your pain.
They were giving me 90 Vicodin 10s a month.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so it is amazing to have Kratom.
Can you still get them though? So
Hell no, and I don't want
Your
them.
drug dealer's about to call again.
I can call that guy back and see if he can help you
Trade
out.
it for some MDMA.
No, but I mean, that's and I commend you on what you're doing.
Thank
Because
you.
More
David,
people
what
need to
kind
know
of
about
drugs
that.
are you on?
Grant, what kind of
Baby
drugs
aspirin
are
a
you
day.
Baby? Are you doing that for your heart, really?
on? Yeah,
Yeah.
Good, man. Does it work?
he's still here.
Did you have a heart problem?
No.
So you just take
No.
it as a preventive,
It was a suggestion.
as a prophylactic, as they say.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion from your doctor?
Yep.
Okay, not from the drug dealer. Okay.
No.
Listen, Billy. Before
Yeah.
we get, hey, Thomas, did you want to say something before? No, you're moving on. Okay, Billy, you want to play something else? You want to play something off the new
Sure.
album, or
I'll play something
what?
older.
Okay.
We'll take it up a little bit, I guess. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna find yourself? And I'll just stay here and pick up what you left. If there was a way to turn back the hands of time and see your face and hold you one more time, you go on and make your way, and I'll see you on any day, but that's okay. Anyway, I see you, and I see you. Where you gonna go? I won't be far behind. That being said, it's all just a matter of time. If I had wings, I'd fly away from here and fly so high, fly to you, my dear. You go on and make your way, and I'll see you through any day, but that's okay. Anyway, I see you, and I see you. Where you gonna go? Who you hoping to find? And I see you, and I see you.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Very nice. Indeed. Is that, now what's that off? What album is that off?
That's off Naked.
Naked. That was the one that was for like 2013 or something?
Yeah, it's a few years back.
Yeah,
That's
right.
kind of where I changed my style a little bit, started writing songs. I got really into like Jason Isbell and all these songwriters, and I wanted to write songs that people could visualize. So instead of just these jams that I was writing and
Right.
making hippies spin, I decided to attach some songs to it. So
Was it Jason Isbell that inspired you to do that? Really?
yeah, I love his songwriting. Not him alone. I
Right.
love Paul Weller's a big influence on me. Steve Winwood. I mean, and then the obvious, the Neville's,
Right.
the Meters, the Little Feats, the Grateful Dead, and all that. But I'm old enough to say that I like songs attached with jams. I'm in a jam band. We do a lot of jamming, but I like
Right.
a song to be a part of it.
Who is it? Scam Likely?
Well, I like that
Did
guy's
that,
name.
is that his name?
That's my new manager. Scam
Okay,
Likely.
that wasn't my imagination, right? That did actually say that.
Yeah.
Pull that up on your phone again. Scam. The person's name is Scam Likely.
Yeah, it's a true caller.
What
It
sort of
starts
a
out the scams, any marketing calls, anything like that.
Hey,
awesome.
talk into the mic a sec here.
That's awesome.
Come over
Oh,
here.
sorry.
So that says when the phone rings and it's like a telemarketer, it's
Yeah,
telling you this is
exactly.
likely to be a scam.
It's a scam.
Scam
It's
Likely.
just an app. True
Yeah.
caller. It,
I gotta
it
get
Mine
sorts
does
out
that.
everything.
My phone does that
You
too.
have that
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Lori, that's
It's amazing.
How about
Me and you are
that?
way
Billy, we
behind,
need
bro.
to get on that. Yeah.
We're
Scam
behind. It's the
Likely.
ponytail.
You guys are still on a flip
damn
phone.
ponytail.
You got a
We're
flip
looking
phone? What's going on?
Hey, so
A burner?
that is That's really cool. Do you have to pay for that app, you guys, or is it free?
I don't think so.
My phone just came with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an Android. It didn't come with it, but it's.
I have an Android. What do you have? An iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
I have an iPhone.
Oh, you should have it.
So we're
Android.
both, me too.
I
Well, I have an
don't know
Android too.
how to
Okay,
ask
so
my
let's
daughter.
get it. Scam likely. What's
Yeah,
it called?
you're right.
True Call.
True caller.
True Caller. Okay, that's definitely. I'm looking into that.
Yeah,
Just
me
for
too.
the scam likely alone.
I thought it was something.
Yeah, I thought it was you.
That could be my manager.
Yeah, scam likely.
I'd like you to be my manager.
So, are you looking for management really, by the sound of it?
No.
Not really. You
No,
do it
I've always
yourself?
kind of do it all myself. I mean, if the right person came along, and there are a few out there that I would definitely take, but it's kind of nice having the control at this point. I mean, I've been doing this a long time.
Right, so
Since
you're
I
not-
was 17, I'm going to be 50. So
So what would a manager do for you that you couldn't do? Take this.
actually, nothing. Just take a percentage and get me in doors I can't open.
Yeah.
But what do you want to do that you're not doing?
Nah, not much these days.
Nothing?
No,
So there's no-
I pretty much. There's only a few more things I want to accomplish.
What are they,
I'm pretty happy with what I've done.
What's the next one? Other than the house in Jamaica,
That's the big one right now. That's the big one right now.
But
I
what,
mean,
professionally, though?
professionally, I would like to have a little more stability. It's not a very stable lifestyle, and I think I'm asking for too much with that, in what I've chose. So, but maybe a little more stability.
Like a regular gig or something?
No,
or?
just a little more work. It goes up and down. There's months where I don't work, then there's months where I have 10 gigs. So it's
Well, this is where management would probably or possibly help.
possibly, but they're not out there. It's not an easy thing to find.
Yeah.
It's a very
Right.
cliquey world.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking for a literary agent right now, and I've got a collection of all my rejection letters.
Yeah. I've got
Sounds
plenty
like
of rejection letters.
But you've got a great story, and you must be able to find an agent with that story.
Well,
or
we'll
a publisher.
see.
Do you
Maybe-
need an agent, or can you send
I
it
would
straight?
I could send it probably to a publisher, but I'd really like to work with an agent to get a good editor to work with it.
As you should, yeah.
And help me get published with a major publishing company. That's the goal. So
Well,
hopefully
I'm sure
I'll
there's
come
a
back
lot
on
of
this
literary
show.
people listening to this
Let's hope
right
so,
now.
right?
Yes, we've got a very big literary audience.
I like that.
Yeah.
So if you're listening,
you're looking for a manager. Where would you find one of those? You're looking for an agent. You send those, you send
so
off.
I've been sending out query letters and query packages. I've probably queried about 35 potential agents so far. I've already gotten 5 rejections, so I still feel like I'm.
So there's 20 out there.
Yeah,
So
there's
that's-
30 out there, so
that
I'm
might
waiting.
be better
yeah.
than the music business because usually you only get one answer out of 30 in the music business.
Yeah.
So 5 is pretty good.
Well, they've all been really positive, rejections,
just
which makes
even
me
an
feel
answer,
like, yeah.
whether it's an answer.
Right. At this point, I feel like I'm on the Tinder of
Well,
literary agents.
it's not like-
Please swipe right. Someone swipe right on. What do I need to do?
What is the general response? What is there?
Most of the responses just say that they don't particularly handle that type of work. In other words, they're not working with personal essays or memoirs. So it's really hard
Okay.
when you're writing a memoir because you're definitely not fiction, but you're not typical nonfiction. It's not like a cookbook or an instructional manual.
So have you already done this? Have you already looked at books that are in the same genre as yours and tried to find who's published?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So who-
the biggest one right now is going to be the one that just came out by Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind. Is really amazing. If
Right.
you guys haven't looked at that, it's a great book. But he went with he's kind of
He's already famous when he wrote
exactly.
that book.
So right, it wasn't like there's not at this point there aren't a ton of psychedelic memoirs that. There aren't any that I know of that are about being a part of a trial. Like people write about their drug use, but usually it's more illegally. The cool thing is I get to write about it legally, which is really awesome.
It sounds
Because-
like
yeah.
there'd be some sort of tie-in with
Sure.
with the National Institute of Health or some sort of
I think
respectable type.
Yeah, I think so. It's just also it's written from my own voice, and as you know, I have a. Maybe I'm not as.
But do you?
Well, you're
I mean,
colourful.
The mainstream doesn't see things the way we see things.
Right.
I mean, and unfortunately, when you talk about that, it's still way out there to some people.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I really hope to get this book published by a major publishing company. Is not, I mean, obviously making money would be lovely, as we all know,
Sure,
but truly is in order for most people to be able to see this work.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you personalize these things, a lot of times we hear about PTSD and we think of wartime, but if we personalize it and we realize that a lot of us have trauma, and if it helped me. I really, I think it'll help most people.
Yeah,
So
I dig.
we have to get out of here, but let's just end this by asking you this simple question: are you happy now?
Yes, I am. I'm
So you
able to
found
really,
happiness.
it's more about being able to be present in the moment, and that is just unbelievably beautiful. Nothing
Wow.
I would have ever expected to have. So, yes.
Wow.
Nice.
So you can get rid of all the things that you were searching for happiness: sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
No, I'm still going to do those things.
Okay. Before we get out of here, thank you very much to
It's my type
Basics
of girl.
Swim and Gym, where you can get a full range of fashion, swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. Basics Swim and Gym is next to the lingerie store Basics underneath on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Thank you to Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to hdestroyer.com and write happy hour in the coupon code and get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer. And you too can seize the dawn. The Positive Vibrations Foundation create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage, and who doesn't like that after all? So thank you very much to the Positive Vibrations Foundation. And if you'd like to be a member of our Patreon family, go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour. And for as little as $1 a month, you too can be a part of our Happy Hour family and get all sorts of exclusive stuff. Andrew Duhon is out on the road. You can find his new album, False River, on Spotify and all other places where you can steal music from. And if you want to see him live, check out andrewduhon.com. He's on the West Coast this week. Billy Iuso has been here. Thank you so much for being here and playing us two awesome songs. It's been great to meet you.
Appreciate it.
And we're looking forward to your birthday party on the 25th of January, 2018. If you listen to this after that, it's too late. And we'll see you at Jazz Fest, opening for the Rolling Stones. I bet you never thought you'd say that sentence.
It's a great resume builder.
Come on. So there's something.
Yeah, you're right.
That's amazing. David Villarubia has been here from the Degas house on Esplanade Avenue. If you'd ever like to get married or get a free trip to Paris, go down to the Degas house. You can find them online. And Lori Tipton, thank you so much for being our most popular guest of all time.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I love it. I love being on the show. It's amazing.
It's great to have you. I'm glad you're finally happy.
Yes.
What a nice way to end Happy Hour. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our music producers are Christian Unruh, Monique Pyle, and happy birthday, Monique Pyle. It's Monique's birthday today. Our technical director is Thomas Walsh, and our Facebook Live feed director, who put this whole thing on Facebook Live, is Asher Griffith. Our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew Searock. April Love Stolf is our live coordinator today. Hi, April. Welcome back to New Orleans. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking alcohol, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. You can also check out many other happy hours we produced previously, as well as some other shows we make around here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on a bunch of time-sucking social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all of it we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our New Orleans Facebook page and on Instagram. These photos were taken today by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment if you've got one to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can follow us and get Happy Hour delivered each week. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of I Know Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, who's on the road, everyone else around here at Wayfair, around the table at Wayfair, and back at our office at I Know Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour. All right, everybody.